Firstly, let's look at what a compromise agreement actually is. A compromise agreement is a contract between an employer and employee who's leaving their employment. The agreement sets out the details of the termination of the employee's main employment contract. They cover a number of important things. Most importantly for the employer, a compromise agreement will contain a confidentiality clause to prevent the employee from revealing details about their employment and the agreement itself to third parties. It will also contain a clause that stops the employee from bringing an employment claim against their employer in an employment tribunal or the civil courts. The employee will receive a sum of money as compensation for relinquishing this right. Compromise agreements are generally used when an employment comes to an end where both parties have not behaved in the manner that perhaps they should have. For example, if the employee has a claim for unfair dismissal, but they've also breached several key terms of their contract. Getting independent legal advice from an employment lawyer before you sign a compromise agreement is really important for two reasons. Firstly, for your own sake, you'll want a legal expert to look at the agreement and ensure that it's within your best interest to sign it. An employment solicitor will look back at your employment and determine whether or not you have a valid claim against your employer that you would have to give up once you sign the agreement. They will then ensure that the amount of compensation you're to receive is fair and that it represents what you could have received if you took your claim to an employment tribunal or the courts. The second reason that you need to get an employment solicitor to look at the compromise agreement is that it will not be valid unless your solicitor signs it to say that you've received independent legal advice. The law requires this formality so that employees like you are not robbed of the right to sue their previous employers without receiving sufficient compensation.